Let's switch gears here for tips for hiring managers. Let me ask you a few questions on this topic.
Yeah.
How about this? Two or three pretty common mistakes that you see hiring managers make when they're selecting candidates. I know you could talk about that one for 4 hours too,
Yeah.
but two or three you want to share?
Yeah, I don't. I have about 10.
Okay.
So I'll speak real quickly. Um, Hiring managers tend to hire people they like. They tend to settle for someone that can do this job, even though they may not be the best fit or the most qualified, and they may be stagnated at that position too, right? I encourage them to hire for future, not just that job. They rely too much on referrals and the conversation around, I have a friend, right? That would be great for this. They do as they're told. The boss says hire somebody right away, and they do exactly that. They run out and
There's a good
hire
one.
somebody right away. Then
Hmm.
in more of the corporate environment, I see hiring managers or companies, they identify the wrong core competencies. And I know we'll talk about soft skills at some point. It's got to come up, right? But
Yep.
we look at this list of core competencies and we say, this is a good one, this is a good one, and this is a good one, but there's no science behind it. They just kind of guess, and then they get a misfit person.
Mm.
They make a hiring decision in a vacuum, right? Who knows better than them who the right person is? Well, I introduce the likelihood that you don't, that no one person should be making that decision, that you should involve key stakeholders, maybe even members
Mhm.
of the team, into that process. They think they need one thing when they really need something different, and they end up hiring the wrong person. And now, more than ever, and this one baffles me, they only look within their geography for jobs that can be done remotely, right? Not
Right?
every job can be done remotely, but the science is there. It's happening right now. You don't have
Mhm.
to sit next to your employee to ensure that they're doing a good job. Or if you do, then I question your leadership capability.
Yes.
So
Great point.
there's
Great point. Boy, I love all of those. Yeah, don't hire in a vacuum. Make sure you get the key stakeholders involved. I mean, that is big one. Is where I see hiring managers deciding what is needed without discussing it with their boss or maybe the CEO or maybe the HR partner or the other recruiter. They
yep,
didn't they didn't decide together what they really wanted before the job started. And yeah, that's huge. But all of those are great. Yeah, and
yep.
now these days, I mean, gosh, the talent pool just opens wide now, right? You don't have to hire a software engineer in Oklahoma City, right? If
No,
your company's based there, you can get a software engineer anywhere. And so
yeah,
yeah, you're huge on hiring remote.
yep, absolutely.
How do you grade soft skills? And maybe you could define it as maybe personality or style match. How do you grade that over specific experiences or skills on the resume?
So one of my daughters is a bit of an artist, and she likes to draw and paint.
Mhm.
And she is working on a project right now that is just it's just gorgeous. It's beautiful.
Mm.
And she's blending colors, and she's shading, and she's balancing. I don't know what the science behind it is, but she's doing all these really, really cool things. And I think interviewing is like that too. It's a blending, it's a
Yeah.
shading,
Yeah.
it's pulling in different elements, right? And soft skills really tells us a lot about how a person does their job.
Mm.
Their resume may tell us what they've done, but without understanding the how or the soft skills or the cultural change that they bring to the table, I'd say you're making a short-sighted decision. So I'm not going to say one is more important than the
Mm.
other,
Mm.
but you have to, much like a masterpiece painting, you have to blend it, you have to shade it,
Mm.
you have to balance it, and bring it all in together to get the whole picture. And that's what interviewing really is. It's like, wow, I don't know this person, but I'm going to bring all this stuff together and try to get a really good answer to my question.
It really is an art and a dance, so to speak, right?
Yes.
It really is. And I respect all of the tech companies out there that are trying to create software and platforms to let robots make hiring decisions. And I'm not bashing those companies. I wish you the best, but it really is an art form. It is a human to human art slash dance that has to happen to really make a good decision. And we talk about that as a recruiting team at Riderflex. We talk about
Yeah.
that all the time. We are sharing different experiences and things that the candidate said or whatever. And it really is an art. I appreciate you saying that. I appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah. Yeah. Putting it all together. Okay.
What's the biggest mistake companies make when they are working with, or maybe two or three? What are some mistakes companies make when they're working with an outside recruiting resource? They've hired a recruiting firm to help them. What are some mistakes you see there?
Yeah. A couple things. When you work with multiples, you don't have a very strong relationship.
Mm,
They are not invested in you, and you are
mm,
not invested in them. So you're getting employees or candidates from multiple different places, and there's no natural attraction there, right? There's no
mhm,
there's no motivation. So any relationship, all relationships take effort. They have to be nurtured. They have to be fed. There has to be bilateral feedback. When you work with multiple staffing
mhm,
agencies, it's not there. So you don't get the right candidate. So
mm.
I would say mistake number one is working with too many
Okay,
agencies,
good.
right? Number
Mhm,
two is they follow blindly and they just take the candidates as they're given. And number three, by becoming overly reliant on staffing agencies, the company could lose their own identity and become irrelevant in the digital space, especially, and the community, the real life community too. So you can't just farm out your perception, your
mm.
brand to the staffing agency.
Good one. Good one. I would add one more to that real quick. Speaking from the side of a recruiting firm, I would say one of the biggest things we see at Riderflex is the company will give us a search with a job spec, and then later on they'll say, well, what I was really looking for was this. I know I said green, but really we like blue better. And when that happens, what that does is basically just create a longer search, it creates frustration and disappointment for everybody. So I would just encourage companies, if you're going to give an assignment to a recruiting firm, just make damn sure that what you give them on the requirements and the specs and everything are solid and everybody has agreed on it before they start the search. That's a big one I see.
Yeah, yep, I agree.
If you think today's tip or guest interview can help someone please share this with them. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. The Riderflex podcast features entrepreneurs, business executives, and the stories behind how they got there, as well as daily tips on career advice and job interviewing. You can visit riderflex.com to learn more about us and get information and pricing on the recruiting and consulting services we provide. Thanks so much for listening and have a great day.